contains potentially intense or sensitive material. The year is 1729. A father gets home from a long day of work. He is in a rather hopeless mood since the economy is only getting worse and he is being affected heavily by it. As he locks the front door, he hears a noise coming from the bedroom. He slowly opens the door and sees his son, little Billy, jumping on the bed. An idea! Billy is full of energy, and he is out of energy. It just makes sense. So naturally, the parent cannibalizes and eats his child. He's too expensive anyway. The parent finally made him useful. The man becomes drowsy and falls fast asleep in his bed. Wow, this story sounds really dark, huh? Well, this was written in a satirical essay by Jonathan Swift as criticism of the social conditions in Dublin, Ireland in 1729. At this time, the population was increasing so fast that it was nearly impossible for many to financially keep up with it. Think about your shock to this story and just imagine the response from the people of Dublin. Now, in this essay, a modest proposal, Swift proposed these horrific solutions like eating or selling your child so that people would try to come up with an actual solution. Was cannibalism a valid solution? Absolutely not. But in this way, Jonathan Swift used humor and sarcasm to drive for social justice. Though the conditions of Dublin did not change immediately after his publication, satire brought attention to the problems of those in need unlike ever before. Now, I know what you are probably thinking. Satire, you mean jokes? While many don't realize it, humor is a very powerful tool that is underrated, and satire is a powerful medium of communication. Today, let's examine satire through 3 questions. What is satire? How is satire effective? And finally, why is satire important? First, let's answer the question, what is satire? Satire is commenting on or mocking something in a way that puts it in a ludicrous light. Satire can be comical. So let's take a look at this totally real iPhone launch commercial.
Introducing the $1,000 emoji machine. The new iPhone X emoji comes in 2 new colors. You can't afford it.
It can also be offensive. Recently, there has been a shortage of Purell hand sanitizer. Price gouging has been common. $350 on Amazon. It's a hot commodity. Everyone's looking for it because of the worldwide virus outbreak. The coronavirus probably won't last that long. After all, it was made in China. Satire is found in every creative medium. We can find it in books, such as George Orwell's 1984, jokes and memes on Twitter, Facebook, and other social media. TV shows such as Saturday Night Live and The Daily Show are especially known for their satirical skits about politics. We even find it in songs like Amish Paradise by Weird Al and prominent figures such as Dennis Miller. Satire helps us see other views and sometimes can be offensive, but it is a powerful medium of communication. And it's used for both good and bad. Now that we know what it is and how prevalent it is, let's look at answering my second question. How is satire effective? Satire is effective and powerful because it keeps the audience's attention. It makes the audience receptive, and it creates memorable messages. Well, first of all, it keeps people's attention. And as the cop-turned comedian Alfie Moore points out, if they are laughing, they are listening, meaning you can spread your message to more people. We have all been in a meeting, or maybe a church service, or a tournament like this one. After all the speeches you've heard, it's hard to pay attention. Because I have ADHD, I hate messages if they aren't at least mildly amusing. I might fall asleep, ponder about how the Demogorgon is not only an anomaly but biologically impossible, and then think up the solution to homelessness in the Philippines and whoops, it's over. And once that, I have no idea what he just said. Now, while you might not have ADHD, you can probably identify with this dilemma. It's probably why I'm so passionate about satire. Jokes and humor are really important for keeping someone's attention. But don't just take my word for it. According to Sylvia Knobloch, a professor at Ohio State University, quote, satirical news programs, often dismissed as mere entertainment, have real political effects on the people who watch them, new research suggests. The study concludes that satirical news reinforces people's political beliefs just as much as serious news. More importantly, it tells us that those who aren't even that interested in politics are far more probable to watch serious news over satirical news and to be the other way around and be affected by it. Simply put, it catches our attention. As she further states, satirical news matters. It's not just important, it has a real-life effect on the people who watch them. Now, why is it important to be able to keep an audience's attention? You are able to tell something with ease and have an eager audience to listen. Humor also makes your audience more receptive and open to criticism and different ideas. You can tell something. If you've ever been told a joke about Christianity, you'll have experienced this. I remember when I was in class, the teacher put a funny video on of a stereotypical church service. It was funny, and I still remember it because it showed me how some people view going to church, and I was receptive. This is important because if an audience is receptive, they're more likely to believe what is being said. But satire also invokes a strong emotional response. When an audience feels the strong emotional response, it is memorable and shapes their opinions. But not only does it keep attention, but it puts imagery inside the audience's mind. You can say more with a lot less, and it helps them remember the message. An experiment was done in 2013 regarding how laughter affects memory. The data indicated that subjects found it easier to remember funnier things. Quote, a number of studies provide support for the phenomenon known as the humor effect. In other words, that humorous material is recalled better than non-humorous material. Take, for example, this 2000s Saturday Night Live satirical skit.
I could have used a little more cowbell. You're gonna want that cowbell. I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
The phrase need more cowbell has become a popular phrase that can refer to anything a person feels is lacking. You remember it because it is funny. Boom. Humor effect. This aspect is important, obviously, because everyone wants an audience to remember the message. Now that we've seen how satire is effective, let's examine something a little more serious as we answer the question, why is satire important? Satire is an artistic expression and free speech, and it is important to be aware of its ability to provoke emotions and how it can influence people. It creates conflict, it exposes different views. Satire changes a society. Sometimes it can be offensive and mean, but it is widely used. Satire is very common with our youth. It's used for both good and bad. It's not inherently evil, and everyone should appreciate it, since some countries ban this form of critique. For instance, in 2017, Winnie the Pooh was banned in China. What could possibly be wrong with Winnie the Pooh? Well, the president of China, Xi Jinping, was compared to the honey-loving cartoon bear. He felt insulted because he is supposed to be perfect and unquestioned. And he didn't want to be compared to a soft, childlike cartoon. But China is not the only country that has banned satire. Brazil and Saudi Arabia have banned some forms of satire too. In fact, threatening jail time for satire. But on a more somber note, in Paris, in 2015, the lives of several satirical cartoonists were lost because of the cartoons they published. Satire is powerful. It can lead to tragic reactions, but it also allows people to peacefully discuss different ideas, which leads to a free culture. It creates conflict, it exposes different views. Satire changes a society. As Sophie McClenn, professor of international affairs and comparative literature and director of Penn State Center for Global Studies, stated, quote, robust satire is often a sign of crisis, and the ability to share and consume it is a sign of a free society. While many don't realize it, humor is a very powerful tool that is underrated. This is why satire is important. This is what you need to remember. Now, while many don't realize it, humor is a very powerful tool that is underrated People will pay attention to what you are saying is humorous. If an audience is receptive, then they'll understand the message more easily and they will remember it better thanks to the humor effect. Now, we saw earlier that Jonathan Swift used satire to attempt for a better Dublin. People continue to use satire today to stand up for what they believe in. How does this make you feel? Uncomfortable? A little offended, maybe? But what about this? Satire is timeless and powerful, and our freedom to use this medium of communication, distasteful or comical, thought-provoking or entertaining, is a sign of a free society.